Boise State for the win. They hand it off to Johnson. Boise State has won the tournament.
They take a downfield shot. And the catch is made. It's Ryan Williams, still spinning free. Touchdown! The touchdown in the first possession, back in the game, and he's loose again. Edwards off and running. Welcome back, Donovan Edwards.
He's going for the corner. He's got it.
This is the Gridiron Uncensored.
Hey, welcome back to another edition of the Gridiron Uncensored podcast. This is Brennan and Trevor joining you today. We're doing the season previews. As you can see, this beautiful graphic that Trev threw up, and we're talking Arizona. Okay, we're in the Big 12 right now. We are going from worst to first. So I mean, if you're an Arizona fan, you should understand why you're here. We just did Oklahoma State, so obviously you're not the worst, but you're second worst. So at least that was something. But we're looking forward to what we're going to talk about in here. 2025, the preview. 24 is done. Obviously, you look at the schedule from 2024, and 4-8 season, it was rough. I was expecting more from this team just simply because I loved what Fafita brought in 23. But I know there was so much coaching change and some turnover, but the Big 12 was just so wide open. It's like anybody's game really is how it felt. A couple wins early, and then you go off. You get smacked around by Kansas. You beat Utah. Texas Tech was a close one. BYU, they got a hold of you. Colorado the same, and then down the list a couple of tight ones. You beat Houston, and then you lose to Arizona State at the end of the season, which obviously stings. But now moving into 2025, there's coaching changes, there's turnover, and they're looking forward to what this season brings, because they, from what I've been reading in their blogs and what I've found, is they think this team is going to be a lot better than what they saw last year. They trust what they brought in at the coaching changes. They trust the depth more. So let's get into it. Trev, what do you see coaching wise? Because that's what we do. We do coaching, we do portal, and then we'll talk offense, defense. So what are you seeing on it?
Well, what don't I see?
Yeah, tell
what
us.
I see? What I don't see is a whole lot of people staying.
Yeah.
So as most of you know, Dino Babers did not stick around. He gone.
Yeah, I thought that was going to do much more.
Yeah,
than what it
I
did.
thought he would do a lot better than what he did, but he just didn't happen. So, so I'm going to make an attempt at this. Brendan, don't laugh at me too bad, but I'm going to make an attempt at this. But, yeah, I'm going to pronounce it because I already forgot how we talked about this before we recorded, guys. And I'm just going to tell you, I already forgot how we said it's pronounced. So the new offensive coordinator is Seth Doge. And I know that's wrong.
Daggy, baby, Daggy.
Daggy. Thank you. I was like, nope. I was gonna say Doaggy, which is close, but not there.
Hey,
but
no, I thought the same thing when I first looked at it. I had to double check, just because we're going through a lot of teams, a lot of names, and God, it's just one of those.
It's just a lot. It's a lot, and he's coming off of it. Last season, he was with Marshall Thundering Herd.
Yeah.
So. I mean, he helped the Herd get to a 10-3 record, guys. I mean, that's not anything. And look, I know you're saying, "Oh, it's the Sun Belt. They got a Sun Belt Conference championship." Well, you say that, but it's like I've said this in a previous episode. It's all a vacuum. It's all about your level of talent compared to the level of talent you have to play, and it's generally comparable in the Sun Belt Conference to each of these teams. So it's still a grind for these Sun Belt teams to go through an entire season and playing very much comparable competition to the talent they have on their team. So with that said, going to 10-3, winning the Sun Belt Conference and getting the Independence Bowl berth, I feel like is a very successful season, and rightfully got a big time job out of it.
Yeah, I agree.
Let's see here.
I think on him, real quick. They're still running heavy with what he brings to the table. I believe it's like almost 200 yards, a game, and then also they pass a lot too, and it's out of the spread, so it's something that they really like what they bring. Sorry, Trevor.
Yeah, no. And then obviously, most of you Arizona people probably know already that Danny Gonzalez got promoted to the defensive coordinator position. So, I mean, I don't mind it. I don't mind the keeping the continuity and bringing him up. He was the special teams coordinator last year and linebackers coach. So, I mean, he was the New Mexico head coach a little while back before last season. So I'm just saying he is not a stranger to this kind of role anyway.
Yeah.
So
And
I guess it's just kind of a wait and see for me.
Yeah.
Because if memory serves, New Mexico did not have the most stellar defense.
Yeah, New Mexico is one of those teams. It's so hard to recruit there and to get that team rolling.
I fully acknowledge that.
Yeah, I mean, you did Dynasty with
I fully acknowledge that.
College football 25. I know it, obviously, video game, but still, it counts. Still. All right,
it counts. It counts, guys.
But
no,
it's a continuity, like you mentioned, though, and that's something that we mentioned throughout our season previews. Is that's something you have to have continuity, staff, players, and they bought into him, and I think that speaks to what happened to them in the spring portal. Not really losing much.
That's right.
So Trevor,
I agree. And then obviously, let's see, Greg Navarre was hired as the special teams coordinator, replacing Mr. Gonzalez in that role. And then there's a few others: linebacker coach, tight end coach, and defensive line coach, who also happens to be what should we call it? Assistant head coach. Thank you. Good Lord. I couldn't get my page to load up. I was just like, why is this brain fart? Man, it's been a long Saturday for me, guys. So just
Memorial weekend, man.
Memorial weekend.
We're like, we got to get after it real quick. But so
before all the festivities and everything like that. But yeah, no, I like that move. Defensive line. I mean, he's had I'm gonna pronounce his name wrong, and I really apologize, Mr. Joe. Joe Salave'a. I'm gonna go there because I'm sure there's another syllable or two that I'm missing. Oh, there's a pronunciation in the Arizona. Thank you, Arizona. Nope. I'm gonna bring Salave'a.
Oh man.
Salave'a, I think is how you pronounce it. Anyway, he's had stops at Miami from 2022 to 2024, Oregon. He was with Oregon in 2017 to 2021, then Washington State back in 2012 to 2016, which, I mean, he's been in the big time for quite a while now. So him being the assistant head coach and also the defensive line coach, I mean, he's definitely one of those guys that just kind of looks the defensive line coach part.
Yeah. You can just tell with line coaches, man.
You can just tell with line coaches. They've done it. They've been around it. And so
they got the feel.
They got that feel about them. I got that feeling.
Oh shoot! Bringing out the singing now.
But
never know what's going to happen.
I am super hopeful. I am super hopeful with Arizona's coaching staff. That being said, I do feel like Arizona's in a tough spot because Arizona State, coming off that season that they had, generally speaking, they are both fighting for the same recruits. Generally speaking, about the same talent pool, give or take. I know Arizona fans are not going to like me here saying that, but
hey, facts are facts, man.
But facts are facts. You got another big time college right down the road that is right on par, and actually they exceeded you last season. So therefore, in the eyes of, and look, whether you want to admit it or not, recruits are victims of the here and now. Not what you've done in the past, not even what you did last season. They are victims of watching what happens, and they watched Arizona lose a little bit more than Arizona State, and it's not too far of a jump for them to switch over to Arizona State if Arizona State came calling.
Yeah, that's true, so, and that's why they obviously go in, and Brennan's made these changes, and he saw what needed to be done. And, he wants that trust too, that, in the first year we talked about it, they had a lot of boosters come out and support. They had, guys coming in to try and, prop up this Arizona program. And, obviously last year did not go the way it did, but again, in the era of the portal and everything else, it's hard to get that continuity going and to have the team cohesion in one season. If players aren't bought in, maybe they don't feel like they fit the system perfectly. So you go out, you change up DC, OC, even though there's some continuity on the defensive side, like we mentioned, it's giving them an ability to take a step forward. And even though they lost some star power, with McMillan, going to the pros, obviously the dude's a beast. You still have potential here. And we talk about the portal. Let's hit it, Trev. Portal side of it, really not too shabby. 50th in the country when you talk about it. 27 coming in, and you lose 36. But not all losses are bad losses, okay? And that's something that we've learned. You can't just look at the numbers. You need to look at who's coming in, what the depth side of it is. And again, I mentioned it. Arizona feels like they have the depth this year that they did not last season. And we'll talk about that a little bit more, when we get in the offense and defensive side. Right. One thing I didn't mention, returning production, Bill Conley just put those out. They're at 60th in the country in returning production. So about middle of the pack, not too shabby. Obviously, Fajita, and you hope that he takes that step. Trevor, anything on the portal? Obviously, offensive line class is key. Corners. What do you
sir? Honestly, and you guys are going to laugh because Brendan already made a mention of it. So I'm going to point it out. You look out for Luke Wysong in the slot is all I'm going to say. Transfer wide receiver out of New Mexico. Just look out for him. If he's as good in real life as he is in the game, I promise you it'll be legit for you guys in the slot. I use him quite often.
I remember you using that, talking about him. So that's somebody, again, you watch for. That's slot type cat. Spivey coming in from Kansas State. That's a nice addition right there.
The big addition in my eyes was God bless it. Here we go. Teoli Save, D lineman out of Texas, former 4-star, 6'4", 295 D lineman. I think that'll be a very great addition to the Arizona team. I just think that he might be one of those ones that he plugs in right away.
And that's a position of, you need that. You've got to have that. We mentioned it in the last episode with Oklahoma State. You have to stop the run, and that's somebody you expecting to step in, coming in from Texas, to be that guy. And I actually got a lot of, you look at across their portal roster, a lot of them Big 12 guys. You get some Big 10 cats coming in. People from across the country. Cornerback class, we mentioned that, and obviously you lose to Cario Davis. That's a huge hit. On that side. But Trev, you mentioned it last episode. I feel like it's a little bit easier to replace cornerbacks in the portal that you loot, because there's always new corners, new safeties jumping in, as opposed to like trying to replace a defensive lineman, that you lose. It feels a little bit easier to find somebody to plug, and they did that. Javion Cole's coming in. Where'd he go? I had him. Gentleman coming in from San Jose State, Michael Dansby. That's another one, cornerback, 6 foot. So these are guys that you expect to come in, step in right away, and to make an impact. Yeah. One other guy I wanted to mention, a guy, I've watched him play last year when I went down to see Arizona State play Texas State, and that's Mahdi coming in, running back. That he's a hoss. I like what that dude brings in his style of running. So that's going to beef up that offensive side of the ball. Anything else, Trev, on the portal side?
No, I mean, I highlighted a couple. One other one that I'll highlight that I think will help their offense and the changing landscape, and probably help out their quarterback get a little more comfortable with the new personnel, is Kenyon Burnett, another very large, very tall tight end, but lean, coming over from Kansas. Yeah. He's a former 4-star tight end, 6'6", 248. That would be a great addition to the tight end roster. Potentially someone that could plug in right away, assuming he picks up the offense fast enough. I think that's probably another good key piece, because I think tight ends are not talked about enough in college football as being a very key piece to the offense, where if they can block and they can catch a ball, they can be a very good safety outlet for a young quarterback or a quarterback getting used to a new personnel.
Absolutely. Well, let's go ahead and talk offense since you brought him up, because he's in my notes too. And obviously Daggy comes in. We mentioned their offense that he had at Marshall, the ability to run out of the spread, but also throw touchdowns. And it's a system. He was a quarterback. He played that position. That's something that Fafita, I think, can thrive off of. He's now had 3 offensive coordinators in 3 seasons. That's tough for any quarterback, but it should also, to me, you grow through adversity. And if Fafita can do that this season, watch out, because 2023 was nasty. I mean, that dude was awesome. And he stepped in. The thing, the way he played was beautiful. And you bring in the new coordinator, maybe they start feeding off each other. You brought in some wide receivers that we mentioned from the portal side. Still that same system. Braden Loxton at your backup quarterback. I don't think he's starting caliber. I mentioned him, at Wisconsin. He had some moments and then others not so good, but it's at least a backup that you can somewhat trust in case Fafita goes down. Running back room, though, I really think this is a great room. Riscano's good. Mahdi's good. You got some other cats coming in. Quincy Craig, somebody that they're excited about. Really, to me, again, it's the offensive line. How does it mesh? How does it gel? You brought in plenty of guys on the offensive line through the portal to help and, at least get in that rotation. Buchanan from Texas Tech, Tristan Bounds coming in from Michigan. He's going to have, at least really good training from up there. We've seen that offensive line grow throughout the year from Michigan, under Sharon Moore. Other guys, Jordan Brown coming over from Georgia Tech. So there's pieces. It's just who fits and how do they get it going? Can they get the run game, and take some pressure off of Fafita? And then you mentioned, Burnett, he was originally at Arizona, and then he went over to Kansas, and now he's back after a short stint there. So they're excited to have him back, but you also got Tyler Powell. So get the tight ends involved. If that offensive line can gel, I think this team can make a push offensively and get back to, kind of what you expect from an Arizona offense.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that the offense is the biggest key. I want to say that they'll take a step forward because they won't be. I don't know how you would describe this, Brendan. I feel like we saw the Arizona offense be way too one-dimensional, where it's mostly Fafita to McMillan, and nothing really else kind of was a plan other than that.
Yeah.
Where I feel like now it's not going to be so much. It's not going to be so predictable. I feel like you're going to see a more balanced offense.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe even some more creativity within the offense.
I agree.
Motions, things of that nature, where you're going to see multiple wide receivers get involved every game.
Yeah.
At least I hope that's the case, because honestly, if you zone in on one wide receiver or just do the running game, it's just never going to work. It's never been able to be worked.
Yeah.
I mean, even Michigan last season, with just like not even basically having a quarterback, still tried to throw the ball.
Yeah.
And still tried to have some semblance of balance.
Yeah.
Even though they were very unsuccessful,
very
hilariously so. But I mean, the same adage applies to Arizona. You cannot be one-dimensional, whether it's throwing or passing. So you have to have the balance. You have to have the weapons. You have to identify more than just one weapon, more specifically. Make it screen passes, make it motions, whatever the case, gimmick plays for all I care. You got to just make the defense be on tilt the entire game.
Absolutely.
And making McMillan the primary focus every game obviously did not work out for you.
It's easy to do when you're a young quarterback too, is you have a star. It's easy to try and find him when things are going to hell around you. So now, you beef up the O-line, you bring in a new coordinator, and maybe that free flowing play comes back to where you feel more, okay, I need to look for more than just one guy. I think that's a very valid point, my friend. And and we'll see what happens with it. It's another wait and see for me. We'll talk more, over under schedule here shortly. Defensive side, the scheme's expected to be the 3-3-5. Obviously, you'll see some 4-down sets, 4-down linemen, sets coming out of it. But there's some familiarity there, with who's at DC. They like what they have on defense from what I've been reading, the depth there, and some of the guys that you mentioned, coming out of the portal, and Salave'a. But then the other one, Deshaun McKnight, coming over from UT Martin, was somebody that I've seen pointed out as a really surprising player coming out of the spring. He really stepped up. So if you have strong defensive line play there, and you got edges coming in too, Chancellor Owens, a couple guys like that, Riley Wilson, guys that they're from the lower leagues, but there's somebody that can at least get in that rotation or even maybe push for that starting spot. They like what they have to try and throw out some multiple different looks to the Big 12. Young guys, portalers, again, they're in the mix. Corner, excuse me. I think that's going to be fine. The guys that, yes, you lost, a big name, but the depth there, I think it looks good. Even safeties, there's players back there. So if you can shore up that front, I think this team could surprise some people, Trevor.
I don't doubt that one little bit. Fafita's got to get off of the zoning in on one player if he can start spreading the ball around accurately, going through his reads. But that goes back to, can the offensive line give him more than 2 seconds?
Yeah.
If they can give him 2.5 to 3 seconds to find a different wide receiver than his primary, then I think that he will have a successful season.
Yeah.
But if they are unable to gel on the offensive line and figure out proper pass protection for him, there's no point in him to drop him back and doing what he did last season, because he's going to get destroyed. The kid's going to get absolutely destroyed. He is not a big guy, fellas. Boys and girls, that man is not big. He cannot be getting tackled by these massive Big 12 D linemen.
Yeah.
And defensive ends, and they cannot have free passes on him either.
They can't.
They can't have free passes. Like that is if you see that in first 3 games, it's a problem. It's going to be a problem the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Because it's been a known problem. It was all a known problem last season that he got too many free licks and too many forced passes were happening with Fafita last season, and it was not because he wanted to; it's because he had to.
Yeah, and I think again, you get him settled in and watch him go back to that form. Like last year, 60% completion, 18 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. But 2023, I know it's totally different staff and whatever. You're at 72% completion, 25 touchdowns, 6 interceptions.
Right.
If you can even get back closer to that, I mean, watch out for this Arizona offense. And like I said, I like the run game they brought in too. So we'll see. We'll see it again. We said it with Oklahoma State too. A lot of turnover, coaching staff. But we got to see it to really believe it. Let's look at the over/under, Trevor, and the schedule for 2025.
Yeah, let's take a look at that.
I mean, it's again 5.5 is what Vegas is giving you. So they're saying we're about the same as last year. You know, 4, maybe 6. What are you feeling, Trev? Is that fair? Looking at the out of conference, you got Hawaii to start. At least that's in Tucson, and then Weber State. So you get kind of two games to figure stuff out before you go play Kansas State.
God bless it. Well, I mean, the good news is that the way I'm looking at this is that they don't need to leave the state of Arizona for the first 4 weeks of the season.
Yeah.
That three full game weeks plus an off week, and then you go out to Iowa State.
Yeah.
Before you have to start traveling. And then you're back to Arizona for another 2 games before you have to travel to Houston. Agreed. So I'm just saying, like, the schedule, at least the first half of it, I would say, I mean, obviously the teams aren't easy. There's no team that I would say that a Big 12 team, regardless of who we're talking about, can walk in and say that team's an easy win.
Yeah.
That's not the case in the Big 12.
Agreed.
There's too much parity right now, and there's too much the teams are too similar to each other in the Big 12 for me to say one way or the other. Whether they're ranked or not, it's irrelevant to me.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the talent pool is about the same across the Big 12.
We saw it last year too.
Yeah.
It happened. BYU
Exactly right.
was right in the playoff mix, and then they got hosed at the end of the season.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
there
they
goes
got
their
it.
chances. But they were like, "Oh yeah, we got it." No, it's the Big 12, man. That thing, the parity's there. It's a deep conference. It's wide open.
Right, exactly right. So the way I'm looking at this is I think they still I'm going to say over on this, but I'm not exactly as confident just because I really want to see how this offense goes.
Yeah,
And if they get one-dimensional again, I'm telling you, I do not see 5 wins.
I agree.
But if they can keep control of the ball, they can make stops on defense and be run and pass, be balanced. I like the Arizona build that they got going on right now, but like you said, it's a wait and see thing because we have no clue.
Yeah,
because
and
there was all season long they didn't even attempt to be balanced last season.
yeah, and again, you look at it. Iowa State lost some. Oklahoma State's to me a toss-up game. Houston tossed up. Colorado is going to be interesting with how they've reshaped their team. Kansas as well, Cincinnati. So a lot of toss-ups. Arizona State's up and up right now. BYU, they've got some stuff going on with their quarterback, so that might be a hit to their team. Baylor, I think, is going to be better than people are expecting. Again, we're outside looking in here, from the conference, but because we kind of do national stuff. But
yeah, we're broad strokes here, folks. So.
Just looking at it, I can see why it's at 5.5. But if they get their shit together and Fafita, goes off like he did, I mean, you could see more than 6 wins. But
absolutely, you could see them in the Big 12 championship because it's not far out, not a far stretch for them to walk right back into the Big 12 championship.
Yeah, I mean, there's potential for them to push towards it if things all go together perfectly. But safety, I'd say, hey, shoot for a bowl game. Let's see what happens, and let's
6-7 wins. I think is reasonable for this team this year.
Yeah, let's see if this new team and new staff really squares it away.
But y'all, we'll say this. We said this with Oklahoma State fans. We're going to tell you, be patient.
Be patient.
You may have an experienced quarterback, but he's working with an entirely new group, essentially.
Yeah, and again,
minus
the O-line,
a few returning pieces, but
you got to have the O-line play. So we'll see what happens with it. Let us know again what you guys think in the YouTube comments, Twitter as well. What are we missing? What did we not, maybe highlight from this team that you're expecting to get them over that next level? And we'll talk about it. So we appreciate you guys. We appreciate you watching. Trev, let's close it down.
Yeah. So as most of you are probably watching this either on Memorial Day or just after. So I hope if you're watching it after Memorial Day, I hope you guys had a good one, for lack of a better term. And if you haven't visited a Veterans Memorial site, do so, because it is something that you'll never forget. With that said, I want to say thank you to all the service families that are going through Memorial Day in a totally different way than the rest of us.
Yeah.
So with that said, thank you for your service, and we truly appreciate your sacrifice.
Amen. And we appreciate you guys listening, and we'll see you around. God bless.
God bless.